Does anybody have a question?
Yes,
You
I
can
do. Please, can I go ahead?
oh, sure, you can. You can. Yeah.
Okay. Hello, Nene. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Please, my question is this. I got an info because I applied. I did my application yesterday. Sullivan University, Kentucky. It's not among one of those that you uploaded or mentioned. So I am a science student. I studied pure and industrial chemistry. So I'm going for a graduate program, and I was trying to pick MSM management, but unfortunately, they told me that they are offering only one course to international students. Like every other course that I chose or applied for, they said they don't offer it. But they offer it to people online. So at the end of the day, they said they only offer EMBA, Executive Masters of Business Admin. So my question is this: I was not like, oh, okay, this Kentucky now is where my brother is, because funny enough, if I'm to start applying for another school, accommodation of my own, extra cost. So I was not torn in between. Okay, do I apply for this as a science student? So my question is this: for someone that did pure science and coming to do EMBA, are there no difficulties that I would face when I get to the embassy? Because my brother is also going to do EMBA.
Okay. Thank you very much for your question, Olivia. Okay, now if as a student you're moving from a science background and you're moving to for some schools they look at work experience, for some schools any background, it doesn't matter. As far as you meet the requirements of the program, you can easily
Okay.
be admitted.
Okay. No
Yeah.
problem. So my second question is this: when you mentioned affidavit support, a friend of mine told me that because I have a sponsor here in Nigeria that is willing to provide, because my tuition fee is $80,000.
Okay.
So someone was telling me that I have to have an equivalent amount of money in my own account, like that the sponsorship or whatever is not enough, that I have to cover every loopholes, because they're going to ask me for that when I get to the embassy. So my question is it true?
Okay, now when it comes to the USA, anybody can sponsor you. It's not compulsory that you must have some certain amount of money in your account. You might not
Okay.
really have so much in your account, but you have someone as a sponsor, and it depends on who the sponsor is. Is the
Okay.
sponsor your direct parents? Is it your uncle? Is it your auntie? Depends on who the sponsor is. Now, maybe the
Yes.
reason why she's saying that you need to have some money is depending on who the sponsor. If the sponsor is, you're not your direct parents. Okay, maybe it's your uncle or auntie. There is always a belief that
Screen.
your uncle or auntie might
Pull out.
abandon you on the way.
Yeah.
So now, if you don't have some money in your account, maybe the visa officer might not feel strong enough that your sponsor, your uncle or auntie can sponsor you. Now, the way you present it is very, very important. If now it's not your direct parents that are sponsoring you, because everyone know that no matter what happens, no matter the challenges on the way, your parents will sponsor you. Your registration habit, just in case they ask you, let me see an evidence that show that you have a registered business in Nigeria that you cannot leave. So do your registration and have it.
Okay.
Your whatever you say with your mouth is most important to the visa officer than before he start asking you what about documentation. Unless maybe you started the interview and he now decides, oh, pass your documents to me, let me see why you can speak.
Okay.
But most of the time, what is very important to them is what you say with your mouth.
Okay. So
You can carry your
assuming
documentation along and they can serve as a backup.
okay, assuming telling them now that the business is like almost 2 years old, but I did the registration so time, it will be okay with them.
And you could you it's okay with them. Just explain to them the reason why you have not registered it. There were a lot of challenges, these and these. Just explain to them.
Okay. Okay.
Explanation is very important. Sometimes it does not, as far as you have evidence to prove that the business is registered, that's not important. What is important is what you say with your mouth.
Okay. Okay. No problem.
Olivia,
Let me
you've
work.
asked plenty questions. Okay, let's take another
Sorry,
one.
sorry. I was. I wanted. I'm done. Actually, sorry. Don't be angry. It's just
It's
because people were
fine.
mute.
Don't
So
worry. All right, let's take from another person. All right, thank
thank
you.
you.
All right.
Yes. All right, so Gabriel, do you have any question? Promise Corienta, do you have any question? All right, so Gabriel, Promise, do you have any question you can ask this? So we can.
Hello, ma.
Hi, good afternoon.
I don't know what time it is there, but I know it should be good afternoon from my
Good
side.
afternoon.
The questions are much, but I'll take it very simple. Ma,
All
what are the
right.
chances that you have a say you have a graduate certificate, postgraduate certificate, you have a
Mm.
degree, you saw a course that is in line with your profession, 100% with your profession, and then you still went ahead to get an associate degree. Is it very easy to convince the visa officer why you should do that?
Mm. Have you done a BSc before, or you just did only a postgraduate certificate?
Done a BSc.
Okay.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
you did a PGD,
I did a PGD.
and you now want to do an associate degree,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
That is not really advisable,
Mm.
because associate degrees are meant for fresh undergraduates.
Fresh undergraduates. No.
Yes,
No
associate
matter
degrees are meant
how
for fresh
no matter
undergraduates.
how befitting the course is, right?
On a BSc before, what you're meant to do is another bachelor's degree, because
Okay,
US
or
schools
a
allowed and
master's.
you must have do another bachelor's degree. There must be a reasonable or a concrete reason why you're going for another bachelor's degree. Let's say, for instance,
Okay.
a student who has a third class and he has
Okay.
applied, and so many schools are rejecting him because he has a poor degree, or his CGPA is very low and he cannot be accepted. Okay, now,
Okay.
and he now decides to go for a second bachelor's degree to improve his degree.
I see.
Okay, now sometimes now the visa officer might want to know, why didn't you do this in your home country? Why do you not decide on doing it in the USA? These are some of the things that they'll be looking at.
Okay.
Yeah, so now it depends on his reason why now. But the thing is that associate degrees, I've seen a lot of people applying for associate degrees. US schools will generally accept you no matter your age, number one. No matter you have done BS and you want to do associate degree, US schools will accept you. But the only challenge you are having is the visa
The
application.
visa. Yeah.
Yes, if you do BSc and do PG and you now want to get an associate degree, it doesn't make sense for a visa officer.
Okay.
Yes, it doesn't make sense to him. So a student who is going for an associate degree should be a fresher who has just completed secondary school, maybe within the last 2 years max, or 3 years max. That's the study gap that is allowed, okay, for them to be able to consider it for a visa. So that's the maximum study gap allowed.
For US schools, I get your answer, man. I understand very well. For US schools,
Hmm.
a 2122, can you get a direct masters?
Yes, you can get a direct master's. And I
Okay.
think it depends on the CGP of the student.
Okay.
Okay, now I talked about the US schools are setting 3.0 to 2.5 on a 4-point grading scale.
Okay, on a 4 point grading scale.
Nigerian transcripts on the 5-point grading scale. Now, if you want to know if a student is eligible, you're expected to convert the 5-point grading scale to a 4-point grading scale to know if a student is eligible. If you reach out to schools, they'll tell you we accept 1 or 2. But now, what is the CGPA that you have? What is being
Oh,
converted to the first grading scale? Does it also still meet their requirements?
okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't really matter if you evaluate your results on West or not.
West, most schools actually do their West internally. If you
Okay.
decide to do your West evaluation, is good because it actually saves school time of sending your application for transcript evaluation, because all applications sent to schools will undergo a transcript evaluation before a decision is made.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then I realized the visa interview, just like you were saying to her, is
Okay.
basically what you say to them. It's not
Yeah.
really what you. Sometimes I see they don't even look at some person's documents they bring. It's just what you're able to tell them, and sometimes they just they just seem to be interjecting what you're saying in between, and they just decide at once. Is it that they already have in mind what they want to do, or is psychology?
Uh, they don't really have in mind what they want to do. It is what you say that determines what they will do. Now, as I told her that while doing your presentation, it's very good that you prep yourself or prepare for an interview such that you talk about the most important points. Let's say, for instance, I'm being asked if who is going to finance my education in the USA. And I say my parents will finance my education in the USA. I talk about this is how that they earn 100 million naira annually. And in addition, the school has also supported me with 15,000 scholarship, which is renewable every year. So some of them will also want to know the nature of the job of what your parents are doing. But
Yeah.
because those ones are not the most important points, you need to let them know. Okay, now you talk about the fact that your parents are sponsoring you. You talk about how much they earn annually. If there is a scholarship given to you, also mention it that the school has also been able to support me with this amount of scholarship. Okay, now you mention those ones first before you start talking about the nature of their job. But when you begin to mention nature of job at the beginning of your sentence, they'll cut you short because they're not getting the important points at the beginning of your sentence.
Okay.
Yes. So that's why I say presentation is more important than documentation.
So
Wonderful.
from their feedback, how will you know if you're hitting it? It wouldn't be nodding their head, or they'll just be getting more and more questions.
That's the essence of prepare yourself for an interview.
Absolutely.
All
Gabriel,
That's the
wonderful.
essence
You
of preparing yourself for an interview.
right.
All right.
All right.
So actually, we have two persons who just joined in just very late. Actually, my
Oh,
network went off. My internet just disconnected me. So I'm not so sure some of the questions that were asked, and really, I wanted to let's maybe stress on some one or two important detail, but it seems I may just make one maybe actually one of it. Maybe so that we wouldn't have to have a lot of time on this webinar. But the emphasis I will want you to also express, Nanya, is that when it comes to the visa application, right, that during the time of applying for what's it called, an interview date, right? So how it used to be before, is it how it is now, in terms of applicants trying to wait for a very long time, or maybe the visa did not being regularly available? So can you just explain on that, so that it can be very, very clear to a lot of people. Yeah.
okay. So now when it comes to the visa interview date, um, the US actually has what is called the student interview wait times, where the period the student has to wait to be able to get an interview date. So now that has always been peculiar even with the previous appointment website. Even with the new appointment website, it's always going to be peculiar with it. The only difference is that but with the new websites now, they are trying to improve the process such that aside the interview wait time, another thing that causes students not to also get dates is people maneuvering the website to buy dates. And once they maneuver the website to buy dates, when you log in, you cannot easily find any date. All the dates have actually been bought and sold out to people that are looking for dates in exchange for money. So now the essence of changing the website is actually to reduce that process so that dates that are actually available on the website will actually display itself. You don't have to go through someone to get an interview date. Whatever date that is actually available on the website, you will actually see that this date is actually available on the website. Okay. And with the new website too now, in compared to what the experiences of people in the old website. The old website, before the change, there was a complaint that there was no interview date for even for this year on the old appointment website. But with the new website, the appointment dates for even for November and December has still uploaded. They are still uploading all those appointment dates, or they are still making it available on the new appointment website. So now students can still be able to find dates for this year on the platform. So now, if there are any challenges the student faces in getting an appointment, the student can easily contact the embassy through, there's an email on the website or something like they call support. So they can actually reach out to and say, okay, I'm not able to get an appointment, that this is the challenge I'm facing, or whatever is the issue, let them know. The embassy will be able to send a response to you via email. So it is the students can actually reach out to the embassy easily without so much problem. So now the only thing is that the interview wait times will still remain for each of the embassies, but the issue of you not being able to see dates or seeing the actual dates that are available, okay, will not also be an issue. If November is available, the students will see November. There will not be issue of someone they are people have bought the date and you cannot see any date on the website again. That issue will be reduced. So now whatever date is actually available or whatever appointment has been booked, if from first of September to 30th of September has been booked, it has actually been booked. If October has not been booked, it will still be available. So that is the improvement they are trying to make on the website. But there are still going to be a lot of challenges on the new website, as they have actually said. But they are still adding more appointment dates to the website, to the new website. But as about the head, for those that have applied, the November and December are now open as compared to the old website where they did not find November and December. So the embassy is still trying to work on the website to ensure that all available dates that are meant to be that are still available for 2024 will be updated so as students can see appointments and book. So that is it when it comes to the appointment dates.
Okay. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. Thank you so much. I want to close on that right now, but just one more before you leave. Considering, I just want to ask concerning funding, right? Apart from personal funds and maybe your sponsor sponsoring you, you can actually have scholarships and even let's suppose student loan as well. Can you explain on that? You know how maybe scholarship can be gotten in some of these schools, and also student loan where possible. You know, for students too who probably may be looking at extra funding beyond personal funds or family and friends. Yeah, thank you.
All right. So now when it comes to scholarships, okay, US schools offer generous amounts of scholarships automatically to the students once they apply. Let's take, for instance, a particular institution decides to offer between 5,000 to 19,000 or between 12,000 to 13,000. Once you automatically apply for an institution, I tell you that okay, this institution offers scholarship. Once your academic credentials are being reviewed, a scholarship will be awarded to you within that range that is being issued to students. Okay, now if for example the student is an exceptional student, or okay, now some schools once they issue the offer letter, they'll tell you that your result was exceptional or there are additional scholarships which you can actually apply for. That requires a separate application. Some schools will also provide you with links on your offer letter. They can actually click on this link to apply for additional scholarship. Those ones they require extra documentation. You might ask to write a personal statement, you might ask to write a GRE exam, you might ask to write a GMAT exam to qualify for that scholarship. So that is how the scholarships for USA actually comes in. Then when it comes to the loan, now when it comes to loan, everyone knows Empower Finance, everyone knows Prodigy. Okay, now these are the two loans that are being given to international students when it comes to the US market, and mostly for postgraduate students. Now, when it comes to the loan, you are just the most of the time, aside, I don't really know any other things that they look out for when it considering students for loan. Not all schools are being considered when it comes to loan. Not all programs are being put into consideration when it comes to loan. Okay, now most importantly, yes, we have to if you are considering going for a loan, your programs have to be related. If you have studied, like she said, pure industrial management, and she wants to go for she wants to apply for a loan, your first degree and the master's program you have to go for has to be related. That is it when it comes to loan. So another question people that always come up, would I need to wait for an offer or not? It depends on the school, or it depends on the school and the loan company. Some of them will require that you should have gotten an offer. For some schools, you don't really need to have an offer. Just apply. Whoever to check your eligibility first before they can send you a letter of an approval, which you have to share with the school. Okay, once that is shared with the school takes note that these students have gotten a loan, and the loan will not be disbursed to you until you arrive in school. So now,
Oh,
how do you navigate this when you go for an interview process? When you go for an interview, you let the embassy know the policy behind the loan. Because if you don't make them understand the policy behind the loan, they might understand, but your ability to let them know that, okay, now for for loan companies or for the loan I acquired, and the money is not meant to be disbursed in my account till I arrive in school. And the loan policy allows me that to make payments on after my studies, so I'm not really in a hurry. I can easily study comfortably until I graduate, and already have like companies that which I intend to work with that will help me repay back my loan. So these are the things you need to let the officers know when it comes to loan, and also how that is how the loan process actually works.
All right, wonderful. Thank you
Ma,
so much.
sorry, please. I have a question, please.
Gabriel, we will be running it
Yeah,
off now.
based on what she just said, please don't be offended. Relax.
All right.
Okay, just
Ma,
Okay.
how do you just suppose the fact that you are staying an extra? Okay, you are seen as a potential migrant, and then you are going for a non-immigrant immigrant visa, and then you have a
Okay.
loan to pay. You have to stay back to pay that loan. How do they see that? Because loan seems to be that it's automatic that you stay back to pay that loan. So how will this now
No,
be the visa
it
officers?
doesn't work like that. It doesn't work like that. As I say, it doesn't really work like that. Apart from international students collecting loans, domestic students collect loans as well to study. So it's
Okay.
not just international students. Domestic students collect loans. So US is actually, there's already a known fact that US schools are quite expensive. So sometimes it's not very easy for students to fund all the whole education at once. Some people actually try to get scholarships and some actually try to get loan. So as I said, understanding the loan policies is very, very important to be able to defend yourself when it comes to loan. Most of these loan companies allow you, once you graduate, you can be able to work and pay back your loan. That is what of the policy states, some of those policy states. If it requires to pay a higher interest because you're going to pay back after loan, you already let them know that you will return to your home country, and you already have like a company in mind. Already company has already offered you a job, and with what they are planning to pay you, you can easily repay back your loan with the interest that is added to it.
All right. I think I
Yes.
understand the second one. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
You're
Okay.
welcome.
all right. All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Now, we'll be running it up here, and I would like to thank everyone for joining in. Thank you, Nonye, for coming on this webinar. Really, really, it was really very I think we really did a lot of explanation on this, and I would also want to, because we can't say everything in one webinar, right? We can't actually talk about everything because there are a lot of things to always know. There are always many things to always would talk about. A lot of changes in terms of migration policies, and that's the reason why when you're doing things like this, you have to also do it with the right, people so that you can also get the right result. And of course, certainly, there are several other maybe things to also talk about, but continually we'll always be having things like this, so it will be good that you follow us on our social media platforms. And of course, if you're looking at starting up your application, you start it up immediately, because when you're looking at beginning study application process, is not I think the quickest one is the UK, but anything outside the UK is quite not so. You will need to start early, right? For example, if you're looking at the US and you're planning for January, I think you should have started even before now, at least starting with the admission process, and then your I-20, getting of I-20, and then your visa process. So it's something that you need to plan. You must not have all the financing that you need, but you can begin with the first, the plan in maybe the first thing that needs to be done, which is school admission application. While you're waiting for school admission application, you're working on the second process, and even your funding as well. So it's something you just start from somewhere, and then while you're on it, every other thing can come in for you to get everything done. So thank you so much for joining, and you can also reach out to us on. For some of you may have my contact, so you can reach out to me personally, and of course you can reach out to us on
Please, I
social
don't
media
have your
platforms.
contact, oh, don't be angry. I wanted to
Oh,
ask you
oh,
that.
are you on our WhatsApp channel?
No, it was a friend that just gave me this Zoom meeting link. Oh, please, I
Interesting.
would like to have
Okay.
the number. Yes.
Okay, all right. I'll put it down on the note here. Okay, so you can see that on the note here, and then you can
Funny
contact
enough,
us.
I'm not seeing any notes. I don't know
No,
why I'm not seeing anything.
No, okay, you see it shortly. We're going to put up a
O-
note right now. Yeah. So you can contact us
Okay.
via WhatsApp or you can call us on the number that I'm putting up right now. Okay.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. That's it for now. Have you seen it now? Just to confirm before.
No, I haven't.
Okay, just a moment.
Mm.
All right. So you've
Okay.
seen it.
Okay, I've seen it. They
All
log
right.
a group. Yeah, I've seen it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. I actually had to. We. Okay. All right. So we'll close now and thank you for joining in. The video, we recorded this webinar, so we'll be posting it on our YouTube channel. Okay. So very soon, maybe before the end of the week, you'll see it on our channel. And then of course you can get to share it to other people as well. Right. So thank you so much. Naya, thank you for coming around. I really appreciate your presence. We there are more other things too. I also want to discuss with you after now. So we'll talk about them anyway. Okay, but
All right. Thank you very
thank you for
much.
always coming. Yeah. And then thank you everyone for joining in. We'll see later on. Bye bye.
Bye.